Hello lovely children and my viewers, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are in the bestest of your health, because with the changing season, a lot of people, children and adults are getting infected because of the viral and getting cold and cough. So stay cautious and just be in good health. Shoemaker. Have you ever seen a shoemaker in and around your area? Well, children, with the changing times, nowadays we hardly see a shoemaker or a cobbler in and around our areas, especially in the metro cities. Yes, in small towns, villages, and cities, you might find a cobbler or a shoemaker in a small shop. But in metro cities, it's very, very hard to find one around you. Not because they are getting extinct, but because there are so many options nowadays. There are large manufacturers, different brands which are available in the market, and they make the availability in the showrooms, big malls, small shops, everywhere they are spread. Of course, that has hit the small shoemakers very, very badly. But this is the changing life. Well, today I'm going to tell you about a story on a shoemaker. So, all set and ready to hear the story of the shoemaker? So, children, Mr. Ben was a famous and old shoemaker who had a little shop round the corner of the colony. And he was a very good shoemaker. Although he had worked very hard throughout his life, but unfortunately, he had left with very less money. One day, he saw that he had that little money which could buy him the raw material of only one pair of shoes. He was a little sad, but then he went and bought the raw materials, and then he cut the leather sheet so that he can stitch another shoes the next day, so that he will earn something. And the sheet and put it on the table and went back to his home, closing his shop. Next morning when he comes back, do you know what happened? A miracle is something what you're thinking about? Or maybe some magic happened in the shop? What is there in your thoughts? Okay, this time, let's do one thing. Send in me your entries with a photograph of any shoemaker whom you find in and around your area, and the early 5 birds would get some goodies from the Kahaniyaan team. And wait, we were on this topic that what do you think? Was it a magic or was it some miracle which happened? So do also write into me that any miracle has happened with anybody, or somebody saw real magic in life. Of course, your moms do a lot of magic by giving you good food and giving you the things which you're not finding early in the morning while going to the school. That is, of course, all moms are magicians. I agree to it 100%. So, well, what happened with the shoemaker? He went to his shop. When he opened the door, he found that there was a pair of lovely shoes, shining and completely made. He was literally shocked to see how it happened, because he did not make the shoes in the night. He had just cut the leather sheet and kept on the table. But how did that happen that the shoe got stitched, and that to such a lovely pair that anybody would get attracted towards it and would want to buy? So he was just thinking this. Anyways, within an hour, there was a person who came and bought those shoes, and imagine, gave him such a hefty amount. Mr. Ben was really very happy because he earned that much money, which could get him the raw materials of at least 4 pair of shoes. So for the next day also, he had some source of income. That day also he did the same thing. He went to the market, bought the raw materials for 2 pairs of shoes, not four, although he had the money, but he had to take some money home also. So that is why he bought raw material for 2 pairs of shoes, and then he had cut the leather sheet again and kept it there and went back home. Next day morning, again he was amazed to see again there were 2 shoes which were already ready to be sold. This time he was shocked. So, who is the person? What is the mystery behind it that the shoes are getting ready on its own? Well, this continued for almost a week. After a week, Mr. Ben was really amazed and was not able to think anything. So he discussed the same with his wife. Then they decided that they will stay back in the shop and see what is the magic or the mystery. Is it a ghost? Ghost. The name ghost only makes you feel scared, correct? But when I tell magic or I say about some magic show, a smile comes on everybody's face. Mystery? Some of you kids must be liking mystery stories. So let's resolve this mystery, okay? Going forward, that day evening, Mr. Ben closed the shop and then came back and took his wife back to the shop. And then they hid behind the wardrobe and they were waiting to see what happens next. After some time, they heard a noise at the door. They thought, who can it be? It was not midnight, but late evening, maybe somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock. Then they saw a boy coming inside, somehow opening the door and coming inside the room. And as he came, he sat, he again saw there were 3 cuttings. Then he sat there and stitched all the shoes perfectly well. And then after doing his complete work, he went off to sleep. All this was being noticed by Mrs. and Mr. Ben. They did not even utter a word, and they thought that let's see what's the next thing what the boy is going to do. Next morning, by 7-8 o'clock, the boy woke up, closed the door, and went away. Mr. Ben was still thinking, what happened? Who was this boy? But he had no answers. He was happy. At the same time, he was sad because he saw that the boy who entered the house, although he made such lovely shoes, he was barefoot. He did not have any chappals or sandals or shoes on his feet, to which Mr. Ben was a little taken aback. Well, children, by the name of the chappal, I got reminded of a Google search which I made today morning. I searched just like what is chappal. Then, do you know the answer? If you hear the answer, I'm sure that it's going to bring a laughter. In India, the chappal is a tool which most of the parents use for shaping their children's future. Isn't it funny? No parent hits their child with chappal. But when we were small, I swear, we were hit by chappals, we were hit by scales in the school by our teachers. There was no biasness, nothing. The teachers were free to hit us whenever they wanted, and we used to get one scale on the bum. Yeah, it sounds funny, right? Of course, continuing that meaning of chappal, for those who actually know what chappal is, it's actually a footwear which the people in India wear. Well, so when Mr. Ben had seen this, he became sad and he got one thought. He thought that why not gift a shoes for this little boy. So that day, Mr. Ben did nothing but made a perfect pair of shoes, and then he wrapped in a gift wrap and kept it. And that day also, they both were hiding behind the wardrobe and wanted to see the reaction of the boy. When the boy came back, and then he saw that there was a gift wrap. He thought maybe it is for him, and he opened. He saw that it was a pair of shoes, which made him so elated and so amazed. He was dancing around with those shoes. Then came the entry of Mr. and Mrs. Ben. They came from behind the wardrobe, and then they stood in front of the boy. The boy got a little scared, wanted to run away. But Mr. Ben held the hand of the boy and said, "You don't need to worry and you don't need to run away. Well, tell me your story." So this boy started. His name was Tom, and he started that he had nobody in this universe. He was all alone. Somehow he worked in the evening timings in a shoe factory nearby, and in the daytime he used to go to the school and wanted to complete his studies. Listening to this, Mr. and Mrs. Benz, they became very emotional. Well, Tom continued and said, "Sir, since I was using your shop for spending my night and sleeping around, that is why. As a return gesture, I made the shoes because I had learned making the shoes in the shoe factory. Although most of the shoes are made in the machine, but still, he had seen a lot of designs and he tried to make new shoes." Mr. Ben was happy, and so was Tom. Mr. Ben said, "You don't need to worry, boy. From next day onwards, you can come and stay here without even hiding it from me, now that I know it." Tom was a nice, responsible boy, and so was Mr. Ben, because he allowed Tom to sleep back in the shop and spend his nights there and sleep peacefully. So basically, children, we should help each other, whoever is in need. That's how the world goes. If you do good, good comes back. The boy did good to Mr. Ben, for Mr. Ben, and Mr. Ben in return gave good opportunity to Tom to have a house for himself in the night. Well, children, hope you like this story. And before I say goodbye to you all, subscribe to my channel and like my videos and share it with your friends and family. Thank you.